When we can incorporate the mental aspect of yoga or Raja Yoga into our physical practice or Hatha Yoga, that's a game changer. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jimmy Barkan. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hit the notification bell, and hit the like button if you're enjoying this video. So I've been practicing Hatha Yoga since 1980, and understanding the mental aspect of yoga is such an important part of the practice, and I want to help you today to incorporate the mental aspect into your physical practice. Let's say you're doing Bikram yoga, and it's the same sequence on a day-to-day basis, or if you're doing Ashtanga yoga, it's the same sequence repeated. Sometimes you can go in auto mode. You know what's next, and you're in an automatic pattern. You're just doing the positions, you're doing the flow, you're rolling up your mat, and you're going home. We've got to stay mentally present. Now, I've talked about in other videos the best way you can have a consistent practice, and that is to be in a no mind before you get there. In other words, don't make the decision. If you want to do a consistent practice 4, 5, 6 days a week, then you make the decision once. You can't wake up or you can't be laying in your bed saying, should I go to that hot yoga practice? Should I go to that yoga room? Because one day you're going to talk yourself out of it. It may be just too comfortable in bed. Maybe it's raining and you're getting a little cozy and you want to get out of bed. How did I do yoga every single day or 5, 6 days a week? By making the decision once. I get out of bed, I brush my teeth, have a little breakfast, get in my car, I'm driving, and all of a sudden, there I am in the yoga room doing the breathing. There's no mind to get there. However, when we get there, it's the opposite of no mind. Now we've got to get into the mental aspect. Don't forget, if you're enjoying this video, smash that like button. It helps to boost us up in the algorithm. Any questions you have, put them in the comments below. I get to all the comments. So right off the bat, if you're a Barkan Method student or teacher, or you're a Bikram Yoga student or teacher, we start with a breathing exercise to open up the lungs. So it's real easy to just start the breathing, and you're in automatic mode, and you're inhaling and bringing your arms up, exhaling, bringing your head back. But this is where you can start to get the mental aspect in the physical aspect together. So you want to think of it flowing. The breath, the arms, the head are all working together. Check out this video and I give a little more detail on how that placement of the breath works and how the arms and the head work together. If you're just in automatic mode, then nothing's really happening. But when you're mentally connected to what you're doing, it makes such a difference in your practice. Because you don't want, first of all, you don't want your head to go back too fast. You don't want your head to go forward too fast. You want the head to take your time, take the whole 6 seconds in the count for your head to move back, and the whole 6 seconds of your count for the head to come forward and the arms to come up. So this is something you want to be thinking about and staying present. How can we stay present? Here's a great tip. Here's the first tip on staying present in your practice. We stay present in the practice by incorporating the breath. Let the breath connect the mind to the body, especially in this breathing exercise. So it's really a perfect example. As you inhale, your arms come up. As you exhale, slowly the elbows come together and the head drops back. But you don't want your head to go back in the first second, because then you're not incorporating it, you're not having the rhythm and the flow. The breath can be the first thing we can do to connect the mind to the body. Now, in the very beginning of the video, I talked about Raja Yoga, or the mental aspect of yoga. 2,000 years ago, the first yogi that organized the system or systematized the subject of yoga was a very famous ancient sage named Patanjali. And he was the first one to write everything down. He's the first one to give yogis a roadmap to reach the various stages in yoga to find the ultimate goal, samadhi, or enlightenment. Now, some people equate Raja Yoga, R-A-J-A, with Patanjali. It's not necessarily written in stone, but for the most part, the common knowledge of Raja Yoga is Patanjali Yoga, or yoga of the mind. And he actually had and I want to do a video on this at one point, a longer video, but he actually had a conflict with the traditionalists, because the traditionalists, their concept of yoga was to be connecting with God and make everything that you do centered around God. But Patanjali's argument was, well, we can't find God until we quiet the mind. So if you were doing a Patanjali teacher training program, are you studying Patanjali in detail, you'd be working on techniques to quiet your mind. His second sutra, he wrote the Yoga Sutras. That's where he wrote everything down. That's where the roadmap is. His second, arguably most famous sutra of all time is Yogas Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga is the cessation of the worlds of consciousness, or simply yoga quiets the mind. So he says to the traditionalists, well, we can't find God in the universe until we quiet the mind. Deepak Chopra has a really beautiful saying. He says the universe is waiting for us to reveal ourselves to it in the silent gap between our thoughts. This is very Patanjali, very Raja. But now how can we use Raja Yoga in our Hatha Yoga practice? By staying present and knowing exactly where we are in each moment in the postures and in the classroom. So one very important aspect of mentally understanding your practice, and I talked about it in this video, we're talking about yoga and flexibility, is taking inventory. Knowing that what part of your body is more flexible than the other, what part of the body is more challenged than the other, so that you know when you're doing a position where, let's say, standing bow, for example, in the hot yoga world, in the Barkan Bikram practice, the standing bow is a very popular position. If our left side is more challenged than the right side, we have that understanding. And then what part of the body, let's say your hamstring is tighter, and that's why you're not able to lower down more into the position. So what you'd want to do is not kick up as high, but as you're lowering down into the position, you have to think about that hamstring stretching and softening and loosening, because we know that's a tight area or a challenged area of the body. So now we have the mental capability to connect with that area and let it soften through our thoughts. Let our thoughts go into that area and soften it. And how can we do that? With the breath. So as you exhale, think of yourself breathing into that challenged area, and that challenged area opening up. Another great mental aspect or trick is to visualize the position before you do it. Back in the old days, when East Germany ruled the Olympics, they would always do these mind visualization processes, and then Americans began to copy it. I think the East Germans were first to do it. I don't know. I can get in trouble with that. But before their event, they would close their eyes and they would visualize themselves going into the perfect event and doing exactly what they needed to do to achieve the gold medal, whatever it is they were working on. So when let's say right before the standing bow again, if you're doing the standing bow, right before you do the practice, take a moment to visualize yourself going to your full expression, and maybe even going to the next inch and beyond, so you have this positive affirmation in your mind before you start the pose. The worst thing you want to do is say, oh, this is my bad side, or this is this posture that I really hate, and then go into the pose. It's not a good affirmation, and the body and the mind are listening to each other, and you're going to have a restriction. If you're mentally in the negative side, your body's not going to respond, but in the positive side, it'll be there. I remember I was watching the 1984 Olympics in the men's gymnastics, and I was watching how they pressed into a handstand and just by watching that position, something clicked in my mind, and I was watching it, and I said, let me try it, because I was always able to kick up into a handstand, but I wasn't able to press up into the handstand. And after watching it and studying it and visualizing it, I was able to do it for the very first time, and up I went in an effortless motion. But it was a mental aspect that made me do that. It wasn't physical. So the mind can be so powerful that we want to use it to our advantage. Nobody ever could run a 4-minute mile. It was considered to be an unreachable goal. But Roger Bannister, forget the year, he broke the 4-minute record. He was 3:58 or something like that. And all of a sudden, people started breaking the record like crazy because they saw it was already done. I think the same thing happened in the pole vault. No one could ever break 15 feet, and all of a sudden, someone does it, and boom, 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 boom. People are doing it left and right. So we have this understanding that it's possible. The mind can be so powerful and strong. Now we want to use the mind in our physical practice and visualize before we do standing head to knee or standing bow or whatever posture you're working on, especially the postures you're challenged. Visualize yourself doing the position to its full expression. And understanding the breath keeps us mentally connected as well. When we want to go further in the position, we want to exhale. When we need strength, we need to inhale and let the breath connect the mind to the body. We come up on the inhale and go back on the exhale, and the exhaling breath allows for that response, and we know that mentally, and let the breath connect the mind to the body. Like I was saying before, we can use the breath and we can mentally breathe into the body. Imagine your body is an open channel. And as you're doing the position that you need the body to respond in a flexible way, as you exhale, you want to breathe into that area of tension. Breathe into that hip joint, breathe into that hamstring, and your mind and your thoughts will allow that area to open up as well. So now you have this breath, once again, connecting the mind to the body, Raja to Hatha. And now that we do the final Shavasana, and I do this in my class almost every single day, we're laying in our Shavasana, and we incorporate what I call Spinal Pranayam, which is the technique that Yogananda passed down from the ages. So when we inhale, we visualize the breath coming all the way up the spine. And when we exhale, we visualize the breath going all the way down the spine. So then we can mentally direct the breath with our thoughts up and down the spine. So the prana rises on the inhale, the apana lowers on the exhale, the prana pan come together. We open up the body, quiet the mind, and nourish the soul. So next time you're in class, I'm challenging you to use the mind, to stay present in the moment and let the breath connect the mind to the body. It's a game changer. It will change your practice. And I remember Bikram used to say, you can't practice Hatha Yoga unless you're practicing Raja Yoga simultaneously. That's going to elevate your practice to the next level. So that's our episode for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Hit the notification bell. You get notified when I post a new video. It really helps out the channel a ton. Hit the like button if you enjoy this video, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye, everyone.